Hello, and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I hope we're all doing extremely well this evening. So, look, United versus AC Milan. Look, this is the final pre-season game, and for Michael Carrick is Michael Carrick versus Ruben Amorim. Who's gonna win that one? Look, there are going to be some pretty big questions. I don't know if this was done on purpose, but I do like the fact that this is Michael Carrick's opportunity to show what he's about, and can he beat Ruben Amorim? Look, this isn't just another friendly, by the way, so we'll go into the preview of that game as well. Apparently tonight, Jarell Quansah talks a lot of formerly of Liverpool, now of Leverkusen. So there is a story tonight that we're in active talks. It doesn't really make sense to me, but we will talk about that as well. On two new striker named Nikola Tresoldi and Igor Matanović. Look, why are these being mentioned as well? Look, we'll go through those as well. I think they're a very interesting option. One is 6'6", apparently. Why would we be going for a 6'6" striker when we've got a 6'4" Shesko? It doesn't really make sense to me, but we'll go through all of that as well. And look, this is the evening show. This is your show. We will go through that. So get in there with your questions about the club, and please do that. And then we're going to go into United, obviously, versus AC Milan. Ruben Amorim, of course, he's there as well. So look, please get in with your comments, your views, and opinions as well. And look, I just think it's going to be a really interesting game. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out. Look, it's going to be a very interesting game. I think so. Let's start off, and please get in there with your views and opinions tonight. Is this? So, Man United versus AC Milan. Now, the interesting thing about this is that we already know. I'm going to go through AC Milan, what I think they're going to do, what I think they can do. I think we've got a better squad. I think we had a better squad, and Amorim couldn't really get a tune out of these players. I think the biggest thing for Amorim, in my opinion, is if he gets the players to buy into what he's doing. So I think United have better players. But this is whether or not he can actually get these players to buy in to what he's doing. So look, what does Amorim play? What does AC Milan play? Well, they play is 3-4-2-1 system. Is 3-4-3. That can either be, that's going to be a right centre back, a left centre back, left wing back, a right wing back, two centre midfielders, two number 10s ideally, and a striker. So we know how to play this game. Now look, three centre backs in this system are fundamental, and I'm not really sure that AC Milan have the three centre backs. I think, and we'll talk about how I think that we can beat them. So look, in possession, we all know what he's about. He's a stickler for retaining the ball. They're gonna look for width. They're gonna look to try to overload you, try and get crosses into the box. This is what he does. He likes attacking football, high pressing football. We didn't see any of this either. He does like possession, and he does like to just keep on that high pressing of the ball. Look, the wing backs are really important. Those wing backs act as left backs and wingers as well. He likes them to bomb up and down the pitch. Also, with his centre midfielders, he likes them to, one goes forward and one comes back, or they both go forward and both come back together. He likes those kind of lanes in the centre midfield as well. So look, where can United hurt them? Where do I think that we can absolutely hurt them? This is a new system. This is a new Amorim team. I don't know if they've got used to the tactics yet, because look, it can be very convoluted, in terms of what it is that he tries to do. And look, Milan, I don't know if they've got used to that system yet. So where can we hurt them? Look, Mbumo, Cunha, apparently Rashford is going to start, and we'll get on to the Rashford stuff as well. But if you're just looking at, what I think he's going to start with, I think he's probably going to go Cunha, Mbumo, Ahmad, and I don't think Shesko is going to start next week. So I think this team is what you're going to see with this team is you're going to see, I think, predominantly the starters. So I think that if you play with a bit of pace, a bit of guile, so I think Mbumo is going to have a field day. I think Ahmad will enjoy that as well. And I think that, look, if we get it to the forward players, I think that we'll have a lot of joy. I also think that you can bypass the wing backs as we saw the way that we played. They will leave space on the outside. Now, the beauty of what Carrick does, again, he likes to press high, but he also likes to play with a little bit of width as well. Like he's a counter-attacking who likes width. So I think the press is going to cause them issues. Look, I think the centre backs can be split out wide, and then the good thing about that is because you've got maybe Mbumo up top, maybe Cunha, maybe Adorgu, maybe Ahmad on the right hand side. You've then got Bruno Fernandes that could be given that space. So look, I think it's really I think it's a game that I think we have to win. I think is a game that we should win. Look, Chelsea beat them 3-0 quite comfortably in the previous game, and I think we've got a lot of pace in this team. I think in Mbumo. I think Mbumo's got so much pace. He looks really, really bright this season. Now look, we've got Lacey. Can Lacey come into the team, come into the game as well? So look, Marcus Rashford, is Marcus Rashford, is he going to come into this team? Is he going to start? Is he going to play? I'm fascinated. I'm not going to lie. I'm fascinated as to what he's going to do with a Rashford. I'm still not putting it off the table, and you give me your opinions on this. Where Marcus Rashford, does he actually get sold, or does he actually stay? I would lean towards he's probably going to stay, but before this week, I was adamant that he was going to go, but look, we all know about that. So look, let's talk briefly about the midfield, and I think this is the high topic of conversation. We'll have a little talk about AC Milan's midfield, and then we'll talk about our midfield. So look, AC Milan have Riki, Loftus-Cheek, and Jazarhi. Look, Loftus-Cheek is somebody that we looked at last season. Look, he's a ball carrier. Look, I think he's pretty good on his day, but I don't think he's consistent enough. Jazari is a mobile, aggressive midfield player as well, and Ricky is this kind of physical ball carrying player as well. So look, they've got a very, very aggressive midfield. Now, sometimes that aggression is great when you want to win the ball back. But I think that if Tielemans sits in terms of that back four, looks to sweep up, and is that defender, is the defender's defense, is the defender's defender, and then you get it out to Tielemans, you get it out. I was going to say Kobe Mainoo, but I'm not sure if he's going to play. And then you get it out to Bruno Fernandes as well. So look, I think we can, and we've got to win the midfield battle as well. Look, as we are talking about the midfielders, who's going to be the next midfield player. So look, I think the important thing is here is that midfield, because we've absolutely got to if we're going to be sold, we don't need another midfielder, or Lewis Page is going to come in. Then look, we've got to win the battle in that midfield. Now look, Leao is going to play as well, so I think he can be a very, very good player. I'll be interested to see what he does as well. And Ramos, so Gonzalo Ramos is their big signing, £70 million. He could be trouble. he could be trouble in this game. That he is a striker he reminds me of a very sort of old-fashioned striker in the way that, look, he's not necessarily all about pace. He's a fox in the box, all about the movement, attacking the crosses, the near posts. He reminds me of a Felipe Inzaghi type of player. He's that in and around the box. He's never going to really, you're never going to put the balls in behind and he's going to sprint onto them. He can do that, but he's more of a kind of clever striker. So look, Milan haven't actually done a lot of business themselves, really. So Milan's pre-season is 0 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat. Now the interesting thing about that is Amorim's pre-season is 0 wins, 2 draws and a loss. Now what does that sound like? He hasn't got any wins under his belt. So look, for me, it is going to be a fascinating game, but without any doubt, I think Michael Carrick has got a really good opportunity early doors here to basically show, what he's all about. To show that, look, I am the guy, I am the next guy, and they can put Amorim to the sword. So I think if we play to our strengths, I think that we can beat these. I'm going to predict a win. I think that we will win. I'm not really concerned about this game. So look, please get in there with your chats. I want to know what you think about the game. Ruben, do you think that we're going to beat them? What is your opinion on this game? Do you think that, look, we may be, are we kidding ourselves a bit? I don't think we are. I think from what I've seen, I think we can go and win this game easy. So I think I will predict I think I'll predict a comfortable 2-0. I think so. The only other thing I did want to say in regards to that team, what I do want to see is I want to see Amas play. Luke Shaw is probably going to play that game, but one of the places where I think they can hurt us dramatically as well, by the way, is down the fullback side. If Mazraoui plays, I feel more comfortable. I feel more defensively. I feel like he's got more pace. So I think that Mazraoui has to play. I want him to start. Luke Shaw, look, I don't see the benefit. I don't really see the benefit on what the value add is of a Luke Shaw. We know what Luke Shaw is. I don't want to see Luke Shaw. I know he's got to play and pre-season. I get that, but I'm not bothered about Luke Shaw. So I hope we see Amas. If not, then obviously Luke Shaw is going to play. So guys, please get in there with your views and opinions. Please give the video a like as well. It really does help the channel out a lot. And look, guys, please get in there with all of your chats today. Is the screen black or is it just me? I think it's just you, my friend. I think it's just you. It looks fine to me. I don't know if it is black. Can somebody else confirm? Let me look. Let me check. Alex is in the house. Vril is in the house. Let me check. I'll check to see if the screen looks too dark. Let me have a little look. Let me see.
Have you entered the Great North Run?
I'm just checking. No, it all looks good. It all looks good and fine. So look, guys, into the chat. John O'Connell is good evening. Any Kone news? Look, there is no Kone news at the moment. Look, United are scrambling around. Look, United got back in talks with Kone. What did they decide to do? Look, I think they're just messing around. I just don't even think they know what to do themselves in regards to a Kone. I just don't think they've got a clue. Let's go. JB says the truth. Hi JB. I would love Kone, Hall, and Mateta from this point on. Jack Bridger, legend of the chat. Look, Jack, we're not going to do those. I know that's what you want. I know that's what most fans would want, but we're not going to do that. You know, look, the conflicting reports, and this is the bit that I don't get. So look, the Athletic on Monday or Tuesday, and we did this, and they basically reported and said that United may do nothing else in the window. They may look to do nothing else. It might be good if Michael Carrick doesn't have any more plays, gives him time to breathe, and then suddenly we're briefed by Romano that we want a centre midfielder, a left back, and possibly a striker. Now, as I said when we spoke about that this afternoon, is that spin? We've got to be very, very careful. Now, we were talking about it, and I was going through a list of names. Like if I was hearing out, I think I've slightly changed from this morning. Look, I think we're leaving Kone. I think we're almost inviting other teams to come in and pick him up. You know, the most frustrating thing for me is that we've gone back into Kone, and what is holding the deal up is United want to do a deal around 45, 42 with add-ons. That is why this is not progressing. They are trying to have these preliminary talks. This is what happens, and they're trying to pre-agree and say, look, if we enter 40, 45 million with add-ons, will that be enough? And that is where they are. That is what they're doing. Now, guys, please do not forget to give the video a like. It really does help. Janet, thank you so much. So look, that's where we are with Kone. Good evening, Joey. So Simon, I hope you had a good day. Just got back from the pub. Simon has just got back from the pub. The absolute legend that is Simon. He does love the pub. I've been doing this all day. I've been sorting out the background all day. So look, the background is going to change, by the way. I'm going to put up some shelves. I'm going to kind of make it look a bit better in here as well. So it's going to be more like a proper. I'm going to put the camera over there, and I'm going to make the stream feel a little bit more professional as it was. Good. Have I missed the Quansah talk? No, I will get on to the Quansah talk as well. Danny is in the house, and exactly, please give the video a like. It really does help us out. You know, look, it really does push the content out. It really does help us out a lot. And look, if you want to subscribe, you know, it is completely free. Even if you don't like me, please subscribe for the community. This is an amazing community, and please do not forget to press the bell, because if you press the icon that is the bell, it will tell you, literally, it will give you a notification of when we go live. So look, it all becomes fantastic. Simon says certain plays we have forgotten about because it's been quiet. They are Wharton and Stiller. We're not going to go anywhere near Wharton. Wharton is going to be 95 million. We're not going to go near that. And Stiller's weird. I don't know. You know, I don't even think we like Stiller. So I don't think we're going to go anywhere near Stiller. So there are a couple of player targets. Unbelievably, there are some player targets that we are looking at. So apparently tonight, this is what is doing the rounds, that United are talking to Bayer Leverkusen centre-back Jarell Quansah. Now, Quansah, 23 years old, centre-back, can cover at right-back. Now, I'm going to say this off of the block. It doesn't make sense, but let's go through the player, and then we'll talk about what I think you guys get in your opinions on a Quansah as well. So look, Bayern, he went to Leverkusen last season for 35, I think it was. Liverpool player. Look, England international player. So Quansah, he's big, he's athletic, he's 1.9 meters tall, so what's that, 6'4" or something. He's big, he's athletic, he is young as well, and look, he's made 44 appearances. Look, he is quick, physically strong. You know, I like this player. You know, he also is now an established England player that went to the World Cup as well. Now, I've got a couple of problems with this. Now, look, I like the player. I really do like the player. I think he would be a very good signing for us. There are a couple of problems. Number one, apparently we are in active talks. I don't believe that at all. Look, we don't need, well, we do need, but we're not going to buy a centre back. And he's a right back. If he was a versatile left back, centre back, then I think maybe we could be in talks. But we're not. We're not actively going to pursue this, and I don't believe that we're in talks. Second of all, Arsenal are in talks with him. Look, Arsenal have progressed in talks, but apparently we have jumped ahead of the queue with this player. I don't believe it. I absolutely think that this story is being put out there to make Arsenal, you know, this is classic. this is classic. Use United to boost up the price. That is what this is. Rob is in our house. Alex is in there as well. Alex says, no, that sounds wrong. My daughter's 12th birthday and a sleepover. Tell you what, mate, you've got your hands full. You've definitely got your hands full. Now, Rob is in the house. Good evening, JB. So look, Quansah. Let's talk about Quansah again. So look, I don't believe it. They paid 35 for him, and I'll tell you the other main reason why I don't believe it for a second is because he's not a prospect. He's 23 years old. And Leverkusen are gonna want 60 to 70 million pounds. Look, they're going to want 60 to 70 million pounds. This for me is a classic, typical use United's name to basically make a club do something. Look, if we did it, it would be, I think it would be a statement of intent. But there's another part to this. We've got Maguire, we've got Lisandro Martinez, we've got Euro, we've got Aiden Heaven, we've got Delict to come back as well. There is nobody. There is, how can we have another centre back? We played two centre backs. If this was Amorim's system, then I would say, look, you could probably do that. But unless we're selling Lisandro or a Euro, oh God, my camera's died. Oh, my camera's died. Here we go. Here we go. My camera died. That's really strange. Let me just get back into this. I don't know what it did. The camera died. That's really weird, and not the best. Not the best time in. So look, sorry about that. The camera just turned itself off. That's weird. So let me get back into the chat. I should be back. I should be back. Sorry, the camera turned off. All right, back now. Anyway. So look, I am back now. Hopefully, fingers crossed it stays. It behaves itself. So I am back. I'm back now. So yeah. There we go. Perfect. So I am back. So look, Quansah. I'm sorry, I just don't believe the Quansah story. I just think this is typical, and again, it's this time of year where agents, clubs are going to attach our name to every single person. Look, it is a shame, but look, I would happily sell Lisandro Martinez and get a Quansah in. People may agree or disagree with that, but look, Quansah for me, I guarantee tomorrow is going to be put over channels, etc. But look, I don't believe it at all. I don't believe it for a second. But let me get back into your chats again, and please get into the chats. Please like the video. It really does help the channel out. It pushes the content out, and look, it really does help us out a lot. Simon, no, let me go back to Simon. Simon says United have had internal talks about Osimhen. Is this true? No, Simon. Osimhen talks are not happening. There is no. We are not talking to Osimhen. We're not talking to him. It's just no. We're just not. Galatasaray would want ridiculous money. Let's be clear on that. They would want probably 100 million plus. He would want 400k a week. We're not going to do it. We're just absolutely not going to do the signing. I would rather take that money and spend it on a centre midfielder. Also, as well, unless United look to sell Šeško, look, I've always said this. I think we need 2 first-team strikers. You let them battle it out. That is what I would prefer to see. I would absolutely prefer to see that. I think Ivan Toney's been mentioned by me in the past, and somebody mentioned Ivan Toney today. I think Ivan Toney would probably be a better player because he's not long-term. If Šeško is the long-term plan, then basically the way that we play is we're not going to bring in 2 first-team players. We don't play 2 strikers up front. So I think that you need Toney gives enough competition to Šeško, but he's not going to be the long term. And Šeško will know that he is the long term. Secondary to that, well, look, if we bring in and that type of striker, look, is Kane available? Osimhen, if those players are available and you bring them in, Osimhen is going to come in and he's going to potentially be the main striker for 3 or 4 years. Is Šeško going to hang around? There was talk that Bayern were going to come in and offer 120 million quid. So, I don't know with Šeško. Šeško's injured. I'm hoping that Šeško is back, but at the moment, there is absolutely zero truth in the Osimhen stuff. Simon says, how much would Quansah be? Quansah would be 65 to 70 million pounds. Leverkusen are paid 35 for him. They're going to want massive money. They're gonna want to recoup and more what they pay for him. He's gonna be 60 to 70 million pounds easily, whether we think he's worth it or not. As you know, I don't prescribe to fees, but I think he probably is going to be quite expensive as well. Alex said, done that one. JB, so at this stage of the window, who can you see coming in? The time is ticking. Well, look, the strange thing that I don't really understand, and this is the thing for me, is very strange, is we're putting and I think United are trying to be clever. I think they think they're cleverer than what they are. So what they're doing is they're trying to mystify you. They're trying to mystify me. They're trying to mystify you. What do I mean by that? They are putting out there that we're not going to make signings. I think Michael Carrick would be better, without the signings. And then Michael Carrick, as we spoke about, I've given you my opinion on what he said. He said that we want more players. You know, we know that we need more. In my view and opinion, that is a controlled statement by the club. And then in the next breath, Fabrizio Romano, who's clearly been briefed by the club, saying that we're going to get a left back, a centre back, a striker. It is all designed. It is all designed to spin. Now, what do I think that will do? We need a left back. It is quite clear to me that we need a left back. Look, Truffett has been mentioned. I don't necessarily think that that is the case. Apparently, Harry Amas is not going to leave now, and Salinas. So I think the option will probably be Luke Shaw is the number one. If Harry Amas stays, Harry Amas is the number two, and we don't do another left back. Or it all depends on what we do with Harry. So if Amas leaves, then I think we will, or Amas goes on loan, then I think that we absolutely will go and get a left back. Who that left back is, it's not going to be Lewis Hall. I just don't see it. I think it's going to be Salinas or somebody of that. I think we'll do a Malacia type of signing. I think we'll do, we'll go to the Belgium league. I think we'll go and do that sort of signing and just hope that Luke Shaw stays fit. And I still think we'll go for a centre midfielder because I think the plan was Mason Mount. I mean, I don't know whose plan that is. Whether that's the Wilcox eye test, as we learnt today, that Jason, he doesn't use the data stuff anymore. He uses the eye test, which is crazy. I don't know what his eyes were telling him when it come to Mason Mount. Mason Mount, I don't rely on Mason Mount. I don't care if he starts. I don't care if he scores. He's going to be out for a period of time. So I think we need to get another centre midfielder. And the reason I also believe that is because, look, we've only got a one true defensive midfielder in a Santos. What happens if Santos gets injured? Can Tielemans do a defensive job which Carrick wants to do? That shield, I don't think he can. I wonder if we're going to go that sort of defensive 6 and 8. Or look, we could just do Page. There is talk about Leicester's Page, and he's going to be. He's not going to be cheap. Leicester are going to want £20 million for a League One player. I think you can do one at that price as well. So it's going to be fascinating in terms of that. Someone says we don't need another striker. We have enough players who are capable of scoring goals, not including Rashi. Quansah, Liverpool have the first option. Yes, they do. I think the club would get a lot of backlash from the fans if United were allowed to buy him, especially as they may feel like they need a centre back. I agree with you, Alex. Again, that is another reason that I forgot. I did forget to mention that as well. Look, Arsenal are in for the player as well, and look, he's an ex-Liverpool player. I don't think that. I think Liverpool would rather buy him back. So look, for many reasons, he is. I just don't believe the story. We need Shesko fit. Every little helps, says Simon. Quansah is possible. Arsenal or City signing, he would fit in well. I agree, JB, but Quansah is a right back. Right? Yes, he is. So he's a centre back, right-sided. He's a centre back, a right back. I wonder what Malacia is doing now. Well, Malacia, he's probably injured, isn't he? I should imagine that Malacia is out there injured somewhere. I don't know where he's gone. I mean, if Sancho is basically anything to go by, then you know, he's probably playing in League 10. I mean, Sancho is struggling to find a club, by the way. So I think Malacia will probably be in the same position. Again, his wages are cheap. So look, you know, he might be able to scam a club, but Jadon Sancho can't, which is actually really quite funny to me. So look, the striker hunt. The striker hunt. So we have been told that United are looking at a striker, or we're going to look at a striker. If we get to the back end of the window, and again, this feels like last year when David Ornstein said, whatever business we don't do now, we'll do it in the January window. We never did it. We never did it. So United have put out there that we'll get a left back, a centre midfielder, and if we've got time, you've got 2 and a bit weeks, you absolute idiots. So apparently in 2 and a bit weeks, we can go and sign a centre back, a left back, a centre midfielder, and a striker. You know, let's just play along with the facade for a second. So look, there are 2 new striker targets being mentioned at the moment. So these are Nikola, Tresoldi, and Igor Matanović. So look, let's talk about those. Simon says we won't go to a club unless there's a decent nightclub or pub close, says Simon. I love it. So look, we are looking at apparently Nikola Tresoldi, Club Bruges, so the Belgium league, 21 years old. I think he's just about 6 foot, right-footed. He is a German international player. Now, look, he was born in Italy, but he's a German number 9. He is a bit of a target man. He had a breakout season in the Belgian league, which, let's be fair, that's not difficult to do. He scored 19 goals in 40 appearances, finishing second in the league. The league. Now, look, I'm not going to. I don't want to poo-poo the Belgium league. Look, we got Larmans from the Belgian league, and look, you look at what he's done. You know, am I overly enthusiastic about a German striker in the Belgian league? I don't know. The reason why I don't mind it is because if you go back to last season, and I remember the things that I said this: if we've got an established player, if we've got somebody like a Shesko now, which I think he's still got time to learn, but look, you know, he's still, I would say, you know, is the first team striker. What you can then do is, when you've got that established player, you can take a chance on a Tresoldi. You can take a chance on an Eric Adair. Now, Eric Adair was somebody that I liked from last season. He went to Wolves, and I think this season, depending on the price, I don't know how much that he would be. I don't mind taking a gamble on this sort of player. Look, I think if he was around 25, I don't know, £1 million price, maybe he's around 25 million. You know, I think he's. I wouldn't describe him as a developmental striker. I would describe him as a first team, but very still quite raw. I like the fact that he's played 40 games last season. I like the fact that he scores goals. Irrespective of whether you score goals in the Premier League, you score goals in the Spanish League, if you score goals, you can score goals, in my opinion, anywhere. So look, he's 21. He is an intelligent penalty box finisher. Look, he would be he's another Shesko. Look, he is another Shesko to me, and that is ultimately whereby it doesn't put me off, but this is where I've got to question that sort of player, is because we need something different. I think we need, maybe Mbeumo is that striker now. We need somebody with pace. What I want to see. I know people like the Haaland. I mean, Haaland is quick anyway. I know people like that kind of taller, kind of rangy striker. I want a good, quick, tall guy who's good in the box, but I also want somebody who's rapid. I want a rapid striker you can put those balls through. And the reason why I want those two types of players is because it gives you two options. That we have got the big target man. He's more than I think he's more than that. I think he's reasonably quick. I think he's got a lot of attributes, beyond being a big man. And I just wonder, is Tresoldi, is he too close to Šeško? So look, I don't mind it. As I said before, the reason I like it is because we can now take a bit of a gamble on these sorts of plays. Like the way that we used to do, where we got a Forlan. Forlan from, I think we got him from Independiente. I think, or was it somebody else? I can't remember. No, it wasn't them, was it? It was I can't remember. One of the Uruguayan teams, I think it was. Then we got Hernandez, and then we used to buy in those kind of strikers. A Solskjaer is probably the biggest example of that. So I don't mind the signing. He's got to be a decent price. I don't know what his price would be, but I do like that. I really like that sort of younger gamble striker to bring him in and give competition to Šeško as well. Someone says Sancho won't go. Done that one. Šeško will be more lethal as a sub. That's when he plays his best and late goals are scored. And Mbeumo is looking more leaner and his beard doesn't change. Can picture him being our leading scorer. I agree with you, Simon. This is why I don't mind bringing in this type of player, is because we've got Mbeumo. Mbeumo looks brilliant, by the way. He looks leaner. I mean, people were taking the mick out of him, saying that he was overweight last season. He has come back with a point to prove this season. So I think that Mbeumo could be. I can see. I'm going to make a prediction. I think Mbeumo is going to get you 15 to 20 goals this season. That is what I think. If he can stay fit, I think he gets you 15 to 20 goals this season. He looks like a man possessed. So that's going to be my thought. Rob says, if Rashford stays, do you think Carrick will start him on the left for the whole game, maybe even as a backup striker? Rob, I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified of the Rashford thing coming back, because if you remember, under Erik ten Hag, he started a Marcus Rashford. Is there a clause in Rashford's contract that says he has to play a certain amount of games? My worry is Marcus Rashford's back, and does he have to play the game? If Marcus Rashford, this is my opinion on him. If Marcus Rashford comes back, and again, this is not about Marcus Rashford, this is about Carrick. If Marcus Rashford comes back into the side and walks into the team and starts playing against Hull, then I'm sorry, Michael Carrick does not. He is not the boss. He is not the leader, because Marcus Rashford has to earn his place. He has to earn his place back in this squad, and I don't agree with it. I don't agree that Rashford should walk back into the side. If Marcus Rashford stays and he proves himself and he earns his way back into the side, then fine. I've got no issue with that. But I'm sorry, Rashford is behind Ahmad, is behind Mbeumo, he's behind Šeško, he's behind Cunha. I mean, I'd even put him behind Adorgu as well. So look, I think at the moment, I think he's got to get used to the bench. But let's see what happens. So another player that the second striker that we've been linked to is Igor Matanović. So Igor Matanović is, I think he's 6'6", plays for Freiburg, 23 years old, and he's a Croatian international. He is physical. He's an absolute beast. He reminds me, if anybody remembers, Jan Koller. So Jan Koller used to play for a Dortmund, and Jan Koller was an absolute massive unit. He was a bald-headed beast of a man. I think he was Czech. So Jan Koller was his absolute 6 foot. I think he was 6'6", absolute huge, massive striker. He is 6'6", you know, physical, extremely physical. Somebody who is a proper box striker. You get the balls into him. You literally whip the balls into him, and he should be headering those in. He scored 14 goals and 7 assists in 32 appearances in the Bundesliga. Look, that's not bad. I don't think that that's bad at all. You know, again, very similar to Šeško. I think Šeško, as I've said before, Šeško is a very mobile player. I just think we need something different. But look, we might as well talk about him as well. Look, he's got aerial threat. He's massive, hold up play as well, physical. You know, he's a physical brute. He's powerful. You know, I can't think of anybody recently in the Premier League who's 6'6". You know, like, he's a unit. He's absolutely gigantic, and I can't think of another player in the last couple of years. You guys can correct me on this. Who is that big and as much of a presence? So powerful, and again, I mean, I don't think he's that slow. Can score goals, and if I was to pick one of the two, you know, I like Tresoldi. I do. I think he's probably going to be more of the kind of. It's going to be more of that kind of mobile, still tall, very much like a Šeško. But Matanović is a very interesting player. And Rob is right. Please hit the like button. It really does help the channel grow. I can't even express to you how much it does that. So look, it's two strikers that we've been linked to that are, one is very Šeško in Tresoldi. I don't know how much he's going to cost. Matanović as well. Like, I don't know how much is on his contract, but I can imagine these players are going to be in and around 25 to 30 million. I don't think we're going to do that sort of deal. I don't think we're going to do 30 million on a striker, but I would keep your eye on this one. I think we were going to be linked to all sorts of things. The one thing I will say on Matanović, this has come from a Jacobs again. So Ben has been talking around. So Ben, he's been, again, after we spoke about today. So Jacobs, you know, Ben he was talking, and he basically was saying that United were in for, well, not in for, but he said he wouldn't be surprised if Nkuku, he mentioned Nkuku to, you know, and the fact that we were linked to him, like, you know, years ago, you know, and he's also mentioned Matanović as well. Look, I always think with Ben Jacobs, he just never gets anything right, and he always just puts out names out there. So look, do I believe it? Probably not. I don't believe that we're going to spend more than 20 million on a striker. I think we'll probably look to loan a striker. So I think that is where we are. So exactly. I think Tresoldi is going to be 35 to 40. I think that's a next season. I can't see it. I can't see it. I just don't see us spending that sort of money on a striker. Uh, Nan Singh says Quansah to United will happen. We lack the ambition to do the deal. I don't think it will happen. I don't think it's going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to look. The Quansah thing for me is he is a right-sided, can play a right back, a centre back, right? We have got, let's go through the centre backs. Maguire on a brand new deal. De Ligt, who's got to come back, injured. Lissandro Martinez is back. Euro is back. Aiden Heaven, he is. Where does he play? Where does Quansah play? That is my. Unless we're going to sell Lissandro Martinez, unless we're going to sell De Ligt if and when he's fit again, we've got to sell some centre backs, and we're not selling centre backs. So that for me is the reason. And even if you were to look at it in terms of Quansah as a right back, Mazraoui is there as well, and you know. We're just stacked. We're just stacked. So I just don't think, I just can't see Quansah coming. Someone says if Quansah did come, then surely we can forget about Baleba. Look, Baleba again is still being mentioned. He's still being touted around the club. Do I think? Look, I would say this: don't rule out Baleba. Don't rule out Kone. Don't rule out Page. You know, I think the thing here is there is a scenario. If we do a cheap left back or we don't do a left back at all, I think we go and do the Baleba deal. We'll go and do the Kone deal. Now, the reason why we will still do the Baleba deal, as I've said before, is this. When we're looking at the transfers, one of the big major things to consider is the wages. We can do the transfer fees because we can apportion that over 5 years. 60 million is not necessarily a big issue. The issue is the wages, and the reason why we are still in for Baleba is because his wages are dirt cheap. His wages are super low. So if you think about it, if you could get a player for 50 million, but his wages are 200k a week, or 40 million and his wages are 200k, the better value for United would be to go and spend 60 million pounds on a player and give them 100k a week. So look, you know, I think we're still in for him as well. Adam Wharton, forget that. Just really forget that one. I don't think that's going to go anywhere. They're going to win 90 million pounds. Kone, I don't know what we're doing with Kone. I gave you the last update. Look, we went back in. Where we are with Kone is we're trying to agree a price that suits us, and Roma are hanging on because they know there are two Saudi clubs in there. The Geordies are in there as well. The Geordies are looking at Baleba as well. I think Baleba could go up north. I think Baleba could go to the Geordie. So look, you know, I do think that could happen. Someone says De Ligt fit. I'm not holding my breath. Well, what United do is very clever, by the way. Is De Ligt is back into the squad kicking the ball, so it looks like he's sort of back. I don't know where he is in terms of his recovery. So again, I don't think he's back. I wouldn't go above 75 or 80 just in case, and regardless who it is. Baleba is interesting. We are waiting for Newcastle to make a move. Yes, I agree. Agree a fee for him without the United tax, and then we decide if the price is right. I don't disagree with you, Nan. I agree with you. I think that is exactly where we are. I agree with you. I think that is exactly where we are on this deal. I almost think we're waiting for clubs to pick targets so then we can go to Page. I still think Page could be the one. What about Alex Scott? Forget about Scott. Bournemouth want silly money. Bournemouth have priced themselves out of the market, which is baffling to me because he can go on a free next year. He's not going to sign another contract. Could Bournemouth, if Bournemouth reduce their fee at the back end of the window, then we'll look for him. But Arsenal will be looking at him. Chelsea are going to be there as well. So I don't. Without Alex Scott, I think there's too much competition, and there's less than 3 weeks as well in this window to do any business as well. So I think that we are waiting, I think, for teams to come in and take these players. So then we've got no excuse. So look, it is an interesting window. Again, look, I think tomorrow, the match day tomorrow, is going to be another opportunity for Michael Carrick to put the ghost of Amorim behind him. And if we do beat AC Milan tomorrow, then that'll be a very interesting one as well. Nicest for the third midfielder, is it a case of Page or someone looking like Baleba or Kone and Page? I think it's going to be one. I don't think we're going to get two, because the thing is, if Page was 10, right? So if he cost us 10 million, I would say yes. But Leicester want 20 million. Leicester see him as a Bellingham. Leicester see him as that type. They want to pay. They want us to pay 15 to 20 million. I think it really depends on what we do with the left back. For Baleba and Kone, they like the players. They are waiting to see if we can do a better deal. I think Page is backup. I think Page is the backup if Newcastle come in and get the Baleba deal done, and or by the way, because they do need two. I think they could get. I think the Geordies could go in and get both Kone and Baleba as well. They're two Saudi clubs as well, so it could just be that we're playing a game. It could just be we're spinning Kone. We have gone back in there. It could be that we're spinning Kone and we're waiting for this place to go, because then we will go and look to do that new Bellingham as well. Exactly. Look, it could be Page, and if Page is the next signing, he is going to be the third midfielder. And if that is the case, I am terrified. I am terrified, and whilst again, I know you guys don't prescribe to it as well, to sign these players, but we could have a situation here where Man City have signed Buwadi for 80 million, Anderson for 115, and Enzo Fernandez for 120 million. We would have signed Page for 15 to 20 million. We would have signed Tillemans for 35. So what's that? 55 million, and Santos for 50 million. So we are talking the best part of 95, 55. What's that? 55, 50. Yeah. So we're talking. We're spending 105 on 3 players, and Man City spent that on a single player. Now again, look, I know we don't necessarily need to go out and spend these hundreds of on players, but even the staunchest person that says, I don't believe we're gonna spend 100 on players, we shouldn't buy players, I mean, come on. I mean, Enzo, Buadi, Anderson is far better and superior to Page, Tillemans, and a Santos. You know, I don't make the rules up. It just is. It just is. So, look, I think Page is. I think he's 19. I think Page is 19. Philip says if he puts Rashford as a striker, that'll be the end of Carrick. I'm afraid, like Ten Hag. Look, if if Michael Carrick, if Marcus Rashford walks back into this side, I'm done. I'm done. Like, Marcus Rashford cannot walk back into this side. He just simply can't do it, because he can do it. But what does that set? What does that tell you? You do what you like and you walk back into this side. I agree with you, Marcus Rashford. That this saga is going to make or break him. So, you know, I think if Michael Carrick loves him and wants to bring him into the side, then Michael Carrick is going to have to live and die on that choice. The more we dawdle and dither, the quicker the other teams pounce. Exactly. I think they're doing it on purpose. How old is Page? I agree, JB. We're screwed. We lack height and legs in the midfield. Look, before I go, look, you know, these next three weeks, you know, I'll give you my view. I'll give you my view. Okay, so my view is this. I think United are going to spin the next 2 and a bit weeks. We think Manu Kone, we're going to struggle to do a deal because I think Roma are going to want too much money. I think Newcastle will come in and do the Belabor deal. I think what we want to do is we want to go like this. Oh, people have come in and bought the players. Oh, we really wanted a Kone. We were going to make a bid. We really wanted an Alex Scott. Oh, look, somebody's come in and made a bid. I think they already know. I think they already know that they want Lewis Page. I think that's his name. They already want Page, and they're looking for a way to basically spin the signing. I think the only way that they can spin the signing is to go, oh, look, we went for Kone. We're back in talks with a Kone. Oh no, you know, like a Saudi club has picked him up. You know, this is where I think we are. I think we are looking for an excuse, and we're wanting other teams to buy these players, so we can say, "Oh, look, the only person that we've got is Page, but Page is going to be the next big thing." So that's where I think we are on all of this stuff as well. Someone says, "I'm beginning to wonder why we didn't keep hold of Casemiro. I wished he'd signed a new contract." I mean, Simon, I don't know if you saw Casemiro in the World Cup. It was abysmal. He was absolutely awful. So, yeah, he's not for me. Respect is what Rashi needs to learn, not just with players, but the fans as well. I agree with you. I think Rashi needs to understand that he is now a secondary player. He's got to understand that he can't just walk back into this team. And if Michael Carrick enables Rashford to walk back into this team, then Carrick has no credibility. I'm sorry. I will not respect the manager if that happens. So look, guys, on that note, AC Milan tomorrow. I will be back with a match reaction tomorrow. I'm not going to do a watch along for the game, only on the basis that I am going to watch the game, but I've got things to do tomorrow. I am going to watch the game. I'm just not going to do a watch along for the game tomorrow. I will do a match reaction after the match tomorrow night. It's going to be a fantastic. I can't wait. I can't wait to do the reaction to that match. Sky is in the house as well. Good evening. I've drank too much today, and it's almost it's almost your birthday. Look, Sky. Sky's had a really tough day today. Look, big massive shout out to Sky. What I am going to do, Sky, I'm going to give you a massive big up, Sky. Absolute legend, Sky. I can't even do that. Can't even post it. Let me do it. Here we go. Here we go. So look, Sky. I hope that today went as well as it could. I hope you gave your granddad the send off. Obviously, you've probably had a good few drinks. Hopefully, the room isn't spinning too much. And it's Sky's birthday tomorrow. It is Sky's. She's going to be 21 tomorrow. So a happy 21st birthday to Sky tomorrow. Legend of this chat, massive supporter, as many of you are on this channel as well. I can't thank you enough. And look, I will be doing a match reaction show tomorrow. I won't be doing a watch along tomorrow because I've got things to do and I just don't have the time. So I will be back and I will do a match reaction in the evening. So look, guys, happy birthday to Sky. I'll wish Sky a happy birthday tomorrow on stream as well. Look, guys, thank you for being here. You guys are legends of the channel, legends of this chat. I can't thank you enough for the support. As always, I love the comments. The comments are absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate it as well. So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. And I will see you amazing people tomorrow. Take care.